Nightline begins now with me, Sabrina Zainal. News making the headlines. Malaysia condemns Israel's latest attacks on global Samud flotilla. And Super Typhoon Ragasa claims at least 27 lives in Taiwan and the Philippines. Good morning. We begin with this story. Malaysia strongly condemned Israel's continued violence and its latest attacks on humanitarian flotilla missions. Speaking to the Malaysian media at the conclusion of his official visit to Timor-Leste, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said he deeply regrets the crimes continuously committed by the Zionist regime.
Merasa kesal dengan jenayah yang dilakukan oleh Israel berterusan dan kita telah beri sokongan kepada usaha flotilla kerana ini hanya bantuan kemanusiaan. Apakah menyediakan ubat, makanan bayi yang kebuluran dan kelaparan sekarang, itu harus disekat. Nampak yang sekat ini hanya Israel. Jadi kita mengutuk keras.
He also prayed for the safety of all activists on board the global Samud flotilla. Organizers of the flotilla on Tuesday reported explosions and multiple drones that targeted some of their boats currently situated near Greece. The flotilla, numbering 51 boats, set sail from the western part of the Mediterranean Sea earlier this month with the aim of breaking Israel's blockade of Gaza and delivering aid to the territory. It had already been targeted in 2 suspected drone attacks in Tunisia, where its boat had been anchored before resuming its voyage towards Gaza. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has urged Malaysians to pray for the safety of the global Samud flotilla's participants. The Deputy Prime Minister said that the government and people of Malaysia stand firmly behind the humanitarian mission to deliver aid to Gaza. On Wednesday, Zahid managed to connect via video call with Ahmad Musa Al-Nuwairi, one of the Malaysian participants in the mission. During the call, he conveyed the cabinet's hope that the mission would proceed smoothly and that the aid would reach the people of Palestine.
Rakyat Malaysia amat berbangga dengan keberanian seluruh 34 delegasi daripada Malaysia yang mewakili semua bangsa, semua agama, semua budaya dan kita ketepikan warna-warna politik yang berbeza demi rakyat Palestin dan ini jadi satu ibrah, satu pengajaran untuk rakyat Malaysia bahawa bersatu di dalam hati yang sebenar.
Musa also briefed Zahid on the status of the voyage, noting that several vessels had sustained damage and that the mission was experiencing communication disruptions. Organizers of a Gaza-bound flotilla carrying aid and pro-Palestinian activists say several of their vessels were targeted by multiple drones. The global Samud flotilla reported that more than a dozen explosions were heard as it sailed off Greece late on Tuesday, with damage caused by unidentified objects dropped onto the decks. In a statement, the group said 2 loud blasts believed to be stun grenades were heard near the convoy at around 1:30 a.m. local time. It added that at least 13 explosions were recorded in international waters, while more than 15 drones hovered above one of the ships. The flotilla also reported electronic jamming that disrupted communications. Despite this, organizers stressed that such intimidation would not deter them from delivering aid and attempting to break Israel's blockade of Gaza. They also urged international actors to guarantee the convoy's safety. Israeli authorities have not commented on the latest reports, though previous aid flotillas have been intercepted. The convoy, made up of around 50 vessels, set sail earlier this month with the aim of delivering humanitarian supplies, including medicine, to Gaza. Now, Malaysia and Timor-Leste have reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening bilateral cooperation while boosting and diversifying economic ties. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the bilateral relations between the 2 countries will cover multiple sectors, namely trade and investment, higher education, health, capacity building, and tourism. Speaking to the media at the conclusion of his visit to Dili on Wednesday, the Prime Minister reaffirmed Malaysia's policy of supporting Timor-Leste through training, technical and vocational education and training, or TVET, as well as defense institutions.
We encountered the same fate of an emerging country, newly independent, and we do certainly recognize this in Timor-Leste, and we would certainly share whatever we can, assist wherever possible, as we will also benefit from Timor-Leste's experience and commitment for reforms.
With Timor-Leste poised to become ASEAN's 11th member, Anwar emphasized that Malaysia's close personal and government-to-government ties with President Jose Ramos Horta and Prime Minister K. Ralajazana Guzmao would foster stronger cooperation in defense, digital communications, connectivity, investment and trade. The Prime Minister also underscored ASEAN's energy transition agenda, particularly the ASEAN power grid linking Vietnam, Peninsular Malaysia, Singapore, Sarawak, Sabah, Indonesia, and the southern Philippines, as well as advancing regional digitalization and connectivity. He stressed that Timor-Leste must not be left behind, with ASEAN members working towards integrating mobile services across the region. Earlier, Anwar and Guzmao witnessed the signing of Memoranda of Understanding between the Central Bank of Timor-Leste, BCTL, and the Asian Institute of Insurance, as well as between BCTL and the Asian Institute of Chartered Bankers. The Prime Minister also launched the International Convention Center Development Project at Dili Port before being conferred the Grand Collar of the Order of Timor-Leste by President Jose Ramos Horta following his presidential lecture on ASEAN and Timor-Leste's role in the region. Earlier, during his historic address to the National Parliament, Anwar recalled Malaysia's close involvement prior to Timor-Leste's independence, including the deployment of defense, police and military personnel. He also highlighted the role of former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, who visited Timor-Leste in 2003, a gesture the Timorese regarded as recognition of their long struggle for freedom and independence.
Many of you mentioned pre-independence and post-independence. In a time when Dr. Mahathir Mohamad was Prime Minister, he showed such consistency and tenacity. And I think it is my duty now to ensure that ascension goes on track.
Anwar added that he looked forward to Timor-Leste remaining courageous once it officially becomes a full ASEAN member. In other news, police have dismantled 2 organized crime groups following a special operation dubbed Op Jack Sparrow. According to Inspector General of Police Datuk Sri Muhammad Khalid Ismail, 17 suspects were arrested following coordinated raids conducted across 4 states. All the suspects aged between 19 to 44 were arrested on September 11th. Khalid explained that the 2 groups, comprising of 33 members, had been active since 2023 in Selangor, Perak, Pulau Pinang and Negeri Sembilan.
Kumpulan ini terlibat dalam pelbagai kes jenayah kekerasan, termasuk pembunuhan, mencederakan mangsa dengan senjata berbahaya, rompakan berkumpulan, dan perbuatan khianat dengan api.
All 17 suspects have prior criminal records with a total of 80 offences, including 34 drug-related cases. The arrests were made in connection with an armed assault at a shop premises in Klang, Selangor earlier this year. Police are also tracking down 6 more members of the groups who remain at large. At the same media conference, the top cop also confirmed that Deputy Public Prosecutor from the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, was detained over drug-related offences.
Kita ada buat tangkapan berdasarkan laporan polis yang dibuat. Jadi tangkapan itu ke arah memiliki dadah dan juga air kencing positif. Urin positif. Kedua kesalahan inilah.
Earlier on Wednesday, the MACC released a statement informing that the officer was arrested by the police at his residence in Putrajaya on Tuesday. In the raid, cops also found drugs believed to be shabu at the scene. The suspect has been remanded for 3 days until Friday to assist in investigations. Meanwhile, the MACC has proposed to the Attorney General's Chambers, AGC, that the Deputy Public Prosecutor be relieved of prosecution duties. MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azambaki explained that the suspect had reported for duty at the graft-busting agency as an attachment officer, seconded from the AGC. Azam explained that the support officer had undergone the required screenings for civil servants, including a drug test. However, he clarified that the screening was not conducted by the MACC, as the procedure does not fall under its jurisdiction.
Beliau telah pun berkhidmat di Jabatan Peguam Negara yang saya jangka telah melalui segala tapisan. Jadi berkemungkinan ini selepas tapisan lah. Saya jangka begitu, sudah tentu tapisan dan juga termasuk juga dipanggil drug test telah dibuat kepada semua penjawat awam termasuk juga Timbalan Penuh-Raya.
He said this to reporters after attending an event in Cyberjaya, Selangor on Wednesday. When contacted by TV3, Attorney General Tan Sri Muhammad Dusuki Mukhtar said that he had discussed with Azam to obtain updates on the case. He said any action, whether the officer will be suspended or subjected to other measures, will first be reviewed as the suspect is still under police remand. Reference will also be made to the Public Officers Conduct and Discipline Regulations 1993. Up to 89 billion ringgit is expected to be allocated for development expenditure in the upcoming 2026 budget. This is in line with the 430 billion ringgit allocation under the 13th Malaysia Plan. RHB Investment Bank, in a research note, also expects the government to continue with subsidy rationalization measures, ensuring that aid reaches the intended groups while curbing fiscal leakages. It also noted the government's priority is to enhance regional mobility, reduce disparities between states, and foster more inclusive growth. At the same time, the 2026 budget is expected to prioritize initiatives to enhance Malaysia's competitiveness, attract quality foreign direct investment, and strengthen support for micro, small, and medium enterprises, or MSMEs. Australia's inflation rate has surged to a one-year high in August, cooling expectations of an imminent rate cut from the Reserve Bank. Consumer prices rose by 4.1% year-on-year in August, the fastest increase since late 2024, driven by higher food, transport, and housing costs. Analysts said this inflation data complicates the central bank's decision, reducing the likelihood of a rate cut in the near term. Despite some signs of easing cost pressures, wage growth remains firm, adding to concerns that inflation may stay sticky. Markets are now closely watching upcoming labor and retail data, as any further surprises could influence the RBA's timing on monetary policy adjustments. Abu Sahid Yap claimed trial to 19 charges. This and more after this breather.
The best content doesn't just entertain, it sells. At Content Terhangat, we build campaigns that move customers from watching to buying. From screen to store, we know how to make every second of attention count. Custom advertising campaigns built for your business. Professional ads that put you in the spotlight. Exclusive rates you won't find anywhere else. It's not just advertising, it's real business growth. Register now at AdvantageRSVP.com.
MHI berjuang untuk Palestin.
Daya, kalau kita tak mampu untuk sertai sumur pelotila, ada banyak lagi cara lain untuk kita zahirkan sokongan dan jihad kita demi Gaza.
Betul tu. Ramai yang nak badan kurus, tapi jangan sampai jadi kurus yang tak sihat.
Nak sambung belajar, fahami kriteria dan penyiraan merit untuk kelayakan diri.
Harga hotel di Malaysia mahal sampai orang tak nak melancong dalam negara. Betul ke?
Soal wang, kita bincangkan topik waranti.
Isnin hingga Jumaat jam 10 pagi.
Eksklusif di TV3 dan tonton.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headline.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Wanita hari ini. Selalu orang bertanya bila nak ada kekasih, bila nak berkahwin.
Ada yang lebih selesa hidup single.
Laksa bukan setakat laksa utara je tau.
Setiap negeri ada laksa tersendiri. Laksa Johor, laksa Nyonya.
Bagaimana untuk membaiki perhubungan selepas berlakunya curang?
Kembalikan kepercayaan pasangan anda.
Bila ada kematian mengejut, harta si mati milik siapa?
Ambil tahu, elakkan perbalahan.
Dalam perkahwinan harus berjuang untuk bahagia.
Kahwin bukan untuk sehari dua, tapi selama-lamanya.
Semua ni WHI TV3.
Dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Thanks for staying with us. Forensic experts were facing challenges in verifying the authenticity of writings left by the late Zara Khairina Mahathir. The lawyer representing the victim's family, Muhammad Shahrul Nizam Muhammad Saleh, said experts also found it difficult to establish the timeline of the entries as most of the notes were undated. According to Shahrul Nizam, several documents, including a book owned by the victim, had been handed over for expert analysis. However, he noted that some of the writings have yet to be tendered as evidence and are still under examination by the chemistry department.
Apa yang kita ingin capai dengan pemeriksaan dokumen adalah untuk memeriksa lebih banyak lagi aspek dokumen yang telah ditender di mahkamah. Kita memeriksa dokumen itu secara keseluruhannya. The whole aspects. Meaning kita tengok dia punya analisis dakwat, pen yang digunakan, sama ada lipatan, adakah dia ada kesan diubah, ditambah, dikurangkan.
He explained that initial analysis conducted last week revealed significant differences in handwriting styles. Some of the writings were found to be a mix of entries from last year and this year. Shahrul Nizam also confirmed that his team has been granted permission to access all related materials starting Thursday. Zara's book, which has been submitted for analysis, contains about 240 pages, but only 15 sheets have been tendered as evidence. The 17-day inquest reached its 13th day on Wednesday, with 10 witnesses having been called to testify so far. Business tycoon Tan Sri Abu Sahid Muhammad and former construction company director Dato' Yap Wee Leong have pleaded not guilty to a total of 19 charges involving 754.6 million ringgit at the Shah Alam Sessions Court on Wednesday. The charges include criminal breach of trust, false claims and money laundering, all allegedly linked to the proposed MACC highway construction project. Both men entered their pleas before Judge Datuk Muhammad Nasir Nordin after the charges were read out separately in court. 74-year-old Abu Sahid faces a single charge of CBT for allegedly misappropriating 145.5 million ringgit entrusted to him in his capacity as director of Maju Holdings. The funds were reportedly transferred to a construction company between January 12th and June 13th, 2018. The charge, under Section 409 of the Penal Code, carries a maximum jail term of 20 years, caning and a fine upon conviction. 68-year-old Yap, meanwhile, claimed trial to 18 charges, 9 involving false claims and 9 for money laundering. For the false claims, he is accused of submitting 9 fraudulent progress claims amounting to 220.7 million ringgit at a bank branch in Petaling between November 9th, 2017 and June 26, 2018. The claims, valued between 16 million ringgit and 28 million ringgit each, allegedly involved pre-construction works that were never carried out. For these offences, he was charged under Section 18 of the MACC Act 2009 and faces up to 20 years in prison and a fine of not less than 5 times the value of the false claims, or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher if convicted. Yap is also accused of laundering 388.3 million ringgit across 9 transactions by transferring sums ranging from 18 million ringgit to 75 million, using both company and personal bank accounts between June 21st, 2017 and August 3rd, 2018 at a bank branch in Country Heights, Kajang. The charges have been transferred to the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court and will be jointly tried with a related case scheduled for mention on November 3rd. The Johor Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, has arrested 12 individuals, including 7 enforcement officers serving at various entry checkpoints in the state and Malacca on suspicion of corruption involving a counter-setting syndicate. The border control enforcement officers have been identified as being attached to the entry checkpoints at the Pasir Gudang Ferry Terminal, Muar Ferry Terminal and Malacca Ferry Terminal. The syndicate is believed to be responsible for facilitating the illegal entry of Indonesian nationals into the country. Magistrate Suhaili Sapun granted a 6-day remand order for 2 suspects until September 29th, while another 10 suspects were remanded for 5 days until September 28th after an application was made by the Johor MACC at the Johor Bahru Sessions Court on Wednesday. The suspects, involving 10 men and 2 women aged between 20 and 50, were arrested in Johor and Pulau Pinang on Tuesday. Based on initial investigations, the arrested enforcement officers are believed to have received bribes of more than 490,000 ringgit from agents and runners, who were also arrested in the anti-graft operation. The suspects are believed to be involved in a syndicate bringing in foreigners through the counter-setting method at maritime entrances from 2024 to early 2025. Following the arrests, MACC investigators also seized and confiscated various items such as cash of 50,000 ringgit, Indonesian currency of 71 million rupiah, a Toyota Velfire luxury multi-purpose vehicle worth 115,000 ringgit, and an Italjet dragster motorcycle worth approximately 30,000 ringgit. The Anti-Graft Commission also made an application to freeze 25 banking accounts belonging to 13 individuals involving a value of 1.2 million ringgit. The case is being investigated under Section 17, Subsection A and Section 16, Subsection AB of the MACC Act 2009. Road collapse outside Bangkok hospital forces evacuations. The details when Nightline returns.
Walau hati disalah erti,
satu kampung boleh bau tahu.
Walau kebenaran disembunyikan,
orang nak mengutuk itu hak dia orang.
Walau jela di mata dunia,
dia tak cantik-cantik pun mukanya.
Walau masih dikhianati,
Syafiqah itu isteri saya, Adi itu anak saya.
Walau apapun rintangannya, hanya di slot wayang setiap Jumaat 1 hari di TV3 dan stream juga melalui tonton.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headlines.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Derita kehilangan yang mengubah segalanya September ini.
Saya nak kita bercerai.
Pintu lain ke syurga.
Apa kau dah buat dengan Suri?
Abang dekat KL tu kerja cari duit.
Telah ku ikhlaskan.
Kau dah curang dengan Zura.
Apa salahnya kamu buat kerja tu?
Transit terakhir.
Nak kamu ubah kali.
Memang anak tahu anak akan mati.
Tangkisan Izara.
Sarah nak tengok mama.
Mama tu sakit.
Mampukah untuk bangkit? Cereka pilihan setiap Sabtu 2 petang di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Misi mencari kari diteruskan lagi di Johor Bahru. Dia manis, dia tidak terlalu manis. Mereka hanya bergantung pada kemanisan bawang merah yang digunakan tau. Peminat kari kepala ikan, bayangkan. Memang sur macam ni. Bila ditambah lagi dengan santan tu, dia macam potong dia punya rasa rempah yang terlalu kuat tu. Jadi rasa dia memang balance lah. Jangan lupa saksikan Jalan-Jalan Cari Makan Misi Mencari Kari di Johor Bahru. Ahad ini 11.30 pagi di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
On to the foreign front. Super Typhoon Ragasa, the world's strongest tropical storm this year and equivalent to a Category 5 hurricane, killed at least 17 people in Taiwan and 10 more in the Philippines on Wednesday. In Taiwan, authorities said a mountain barrier lake in Hualien County, formed after a typhoon in July, overflowed during heavy rains, flooding nearby communities. 17 people were confirmed dead, with at least 17 others still missing. Rescue efforts are underway, but roads remain choked with mud and stranded vehicles, hampering operations. More than 8,000 villagers were evacuated earlier in the week. In the Philippines, Ragasa left 10 people dead and 13 injured, affecting nearly 200,000 residents and forcing 25,000 to flee their homes. The fatalities included 7 fishermen whose boat capsized off Cagayan province, 1 motorist killed when landslides hit a highway in Tuba town, and others found in mangroves. The storm exited the country with sustained winds of 185 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 230 as it moved towards southern China. Meanwhile, Typhoon Ragasa made landfall near Yangjiang in southern China at around 5 p.m. local time with sustained winds of 144 kilometers per hour. Authorities across mainland China have ordered businesses and schools to shut down in at least 10 cities across the nation's south, affecting tens of millions of people. Nearly 2 million people were also relocated across Guangdong province, China's southern economic powerhouse. Earlier, at least 90 people were injured as Ragasa swept past Hong Kong, unleashing powerful winds and torrential rain. Hundreds of flights were cancelled at Hong Kong International Airport, which is expected to resume operations at midnight. The Hong Kong Observatory downgraded Ragasa from a super typhoon to a severe typhoon earlier in the day, and the storm is forecast to continue weakening as it moves inland. In Thailand, a major road collapse in Bangkok's Dusit district on Wednesday morning created a huge sinkhole near Vajira Hospital, forcing evacuations and causing severe traffic disruption. Authorities said the sinkhole, spanning about 900 square meters and plunging up to 50 meters deep on Samson Road, occurred at around 6:30 a.m. local time, disrupting utilities and bringing traffic to a standstill. The hospital has suspended services for 2 days while nearby areas were evacuated as a precaution. Officials confirmed no injuries were reported. Initial investigations suggest the collapse was triggered by a burst underground water pipe, possibly linked to construction of a new subway station. Major roads around the hospital remain closed as emergency crews assess the stability of the area and inspect surrounding buildings for safety. On to sports now. Badminton, the 2025 Korea Open. Malaysia's campaign in the Super 500 tournament remains alive, with 3 national representatives advancing into the last 16 on Wednesday. In the men's singles, Justin Ho pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the tournament, stunning China's world number 19, Wang Zhengxing, in just 14 minutes. The 21-year-old now faces a tough second-round clash against world number 3, Anders Antonsen. In the mixed doubles, Goh Sun Huat and Siobhan Lai outclassed Indonesia's world number 30 pair, Adnan Maulana and Indah Cahaya Jamil, 21-9, 22-20. They next face China's world number 25, Gao Jiaxuan and Wu Mengying. Also advancing, Wang Tianzi and Lim Chiu Seng, who edged Taiwan's world number 46, Liu Guangheng and Zheng Yuqie, 21-13, 22-20. The duo will next take on Korea's Lee Jong-min and Chae Yu-jung, ranked world number 50. Turning to motor racing, rising local star Hakim Danish is set to make his Moto3 debut at the Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia from October 24th to the 26th. The Sepang International Circuit confirmed Hakim has been handed a wildcard entry after proving his ability on the international stage. Hakim is hailed as one of the finest products of Malaysia's motorsports development program, having risen from grassroots racing to the world stage. Just last week, he finished third overall in the Red Bull Rookies Cup, the highest achievement by a Malaysian in MotoGP's feeder series. The 18-year-old even led the championship earlier this season before a dip in form saw him slip down the standings. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at a new exhibition at Madrid's museum showcasing 27 photographs from Gaza since October 7th, which one visitor described as painful and very harsh. With that, I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for watching and stay safe.